Hey everybody, and welcome to another fantastic business interview here in Sonora. I'm here today with Jules. She's the owner of Jacob's Table, right here on the corner, right next to Sauce Daddy's, which I just did that a couple of weeks ago. So it's a really great spot, right here where Main Street crosses over the train tracks. Beautiful blue doors, so you can't miss it on the corner. But anyways, Jules, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how Jacob's Table came to be?
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Thank you so much for doing this and for the community and all of that. So really appreciate it. So Jacob's Table, the inspiration behind Jacob's Table was actually when I was traveling for work, and I was in London, and there was a gentleman, and I sometimes get a little choked up about it, but there was a gentleman who was at a burger joint, and he was actually digging through the trash. And I thought, how sad. And he was actually in a suit, which kind of surprised me. So I went up to him and I asked him if I could buy him a meal. And he said, yes. He goes, I've lost my job. I'm not homeless, but I just can't afford it. It would be really nice to have a nice fresh meal. And so that was really the inspiration behind Jacob's Table, was to give back. So the concept was born in London, and Jacob's actually stands, each letter is the first initial of our family. Oh, okay. So I'm Jules, and then my daughter is Abby, and Chase is our middle child, and Olivia is our baby, and then Brian is my partner. So it's spelled Jacob's. The other inspiration behind it is the family unit. So really focused on the family, and no matter what your family makeup is, we just wanted a place where people could have a fresh, healthy meal, regardless of your family situation, and just a place to laugh and to share stories and to have just a nice meal.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That really is. Now, when you decided that you wanted to open up a little shop, what made you choose Sonora? What about the town screamed, I gotta have a store right here in Sonora, when there's so many options around us, and like I talked a little bit earlier, Sonora for a lot of people still, it's crazy, it's a little bit undiscovered, and so to put your store here, what made you do that?
Well, we initially moved to Sonora 6 years ago, and actually this wasn't here when we moved here, this building, and so we would go into Sonora Coffee Cafe quite a bit. And we just really wanted a place where we could come for a break from work and for lunch. And we love the downtown. We live just on the outskirts of town, but we do have a Sonora zip code. And so we thought, how nice would it be to give back to the community. We do serve I-58 quite a bit. We do serve some people that are less fortunate, and they come in all the time. And we just found a need, and we love the little town. We love the community. We've been welcomed with open arms, and when this was built, we thought, it's time. Yeah, it's time to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to ask you also, and this has been a common thread through the interviews I've done so far, is what has it been like, especially as a food place, going through COVID this year, and maybe what are some lessons that you've learned or some surprises that you've had doing food through COVID?
Yeah, thank you. COVID is tough. Yeah. So COVID definitely hurt the restaurant industry a lot. We were very blessed and very fortunate to have really good staff that just hung in there. We definitely had some really slow days last March, April, and May.
Right.
But the community, we did a Takeout Tuesday rally for all the restaurants to try to kind of boost the takeout at the time. We definitely ramped. We started Grubhub. DoorDash doesn't come to Sonora yet, but it will. We're hopeful. Yep. And so, implementing those procedures and doing a lot of takeout and pickup really helped us get through COVID. But yeah, it was tough, to be honest. Yeah. It was a tough little period, but we've also lived through 9/11, and we've lived through the recession, and we thought, if we can get through that, we can get through this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's been really cool doing these interviews, and as I've done more with these restaurants, seeing the common thread, especially among the food folks, is we're all just pure blood entrepreneurs, and no matter what gets thrown at us, we're gonna figure out how to make it work, and also being a part of the community. Now, I want to ask, what do you think is your favorite part about Sonora for people who may watch us down the road and be considering moving to Sonora from somewhere else in Georgia or somewhere else in the country? What's so great about Sonora?
When we didn't know a lot about Sonora, frankly, when we moved here 6 years ago. and we ended up taking a local tour, and it was a tour about the history. The history here is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot about the railroad and the railroad town, and we learned a lot about the old historic homes and the quaintness of the community. And you know, we live down on Elders Mill, and Elders Mill was actually an old plantation where they did, they actually had a mill, and right next to us is an old mill. And so there's just a lot of history there from the 1800s, from the Civil War. One of the other things we learned about Sonoy that was so great was during the Civil War, this was actually a hub for people that were injured in the Army. So it was more of a hospital medic type town. And so a lot of the homes, you know, stayed standing because it served as the medic town. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons that we just love it. There's so much great history here, and you know, that alone, and the fact that they've kept it quaint and they've kept and restored the history, and it just makes it so great. Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about, you know, adding Rail Pub, and so for people who maybe are, you know, want to order in or whatever, what kind of food do y'all have here at Jacob's Table?
Yeah, so we've got a variety of, you know, soup, salad, sandwiches are our main concept, but we definitely do a lot of cater orders. We do a lot of custom orders. There's, you know, like when you go to Starbucks, there's a secret menu, which I had to learn pretty quickly because the manager here started the secret menu. But it's kind of fun, right? So we have a variety of different types of sandwiches, a variety of different wraps. So wraps are probably our most popular. And then soups. One of our claim to fame here in the town is our homemade beer cheese soup. So we've won 3 awards for that.
Really?
Yep. It's awesome. Amber ale beer, Wisconsin cheese, you know, some onions and spices, and it's very popular. So. Wow,
that's awesome. I'm gonna take myself a cup of that. Like I talked to you earlier, I didn't get a chance to be awake during the daylight hours last year. that would have got me through a lot of shifts at UPS. So. Now, in your, you know, a couple years here doing Jacob's Table, what's your favorite memory of the community in Sonoy? What's one of your favorite things that Sonoy does every year that you could be a part of by having a business here?
You know, we love the events downtown, and the car show is a fun event. The memorial fireworks is a really fun event. You know, the DDA has done a great job of, you know, incorporating more events like the Shenanigans Festival and things like that, and we just love being a part of it. One other thing that is one of my favorite memories about here, and I actually get a little emotional talking about it. There was a gentleman that used to come into Jacob's Table quite often, and he was very less fortunate. And I actually found him down on Elders Mill hitchhiking, and I picked him up, which I probably shouldn't have done, right? Being alone in my car, it seemed a little scary, but anyway, I picked him up, and he needed something to eat, and he needed something to drink, and I brought him here. And it was in the first couple months that we opened, which goes back to the concept of, you know, we want to give back. The gentleman's name was Buster, and Buster came in almost every day for almost 2 years, and then one day we just stopped seeing Buster, and I started asking around, and Buster was 78 years old and grew up here, lived here. He actually worked, it used to be a factory across the street where the post office is, and we found out, you know, 6 months after that Buster had passed away. And, you know, just having him part of this and coming in and being able to serve him and the stories he would tell about this place, hands down, is probably one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, that's really really special. And
thank you.
Like I said, it's a, with all the businesses and especially with the food folks, it's just the town supports y'all, and so when there's a need, everybody in town steps up and fills a need for the community whenever it comes up. So and wrapping up, is there anything you want to let people know, some, you know, cool happenings here at Jacob's Table? I know you had that stuff going on in the back patio. It's last year before COVID happened. Is that stuff going to start coming back, or just what's Jacob's Table going to be like in 2021?
Yeah, so we've actually got a lot of events lined up. We're super excited about. For Memorial Weekend, we're going to be down at the lake, which we're excited about. So we're going to do a bunch of kid events, kid foods. We're kind of revamping our menu, and I'm super excited about that. We're going to start beer on tap before Memorial Weekend.
Awesome.
So come in and grab a beer. We also are lined up. We're going to start some poker nights, right, for guys.
Okay.
So we're going to do poker nights and some live music starting in June.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things going on, and yeah, we work closely with the movie industry, and so we do some events with the camp, with The Walking Dead, and sometimes we'll have the actors and actresses pop in and out, along with the tours, right? So you never know who you're going to see when you come down and eat with us, and
Right.
yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on.
That's so cool. Well, Jules, I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to sit down and just talk about Jacob's Table, and for anybody who's out there looking for a healthy option here in Sonoy, you can't miss, like I said, you cannot miss the beautiful blue doors and the blue umbrellas here on the corner. And anyways, I just thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, and I hope everybody will stop in and get a wrap sandwich and some beer on tap here shortly.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
thank you very much, and until next time, everybody, take care and make sure to come out and support your local businesses. Thanks.